Alright, today is a Wednesday, 9:21 a.m., September the 15th, and this is the main watch list, PSRU. This is going to be a watch if it does any kind of continuation. I won't really consider a dip buying this, although this one does have pretty good volume, so maybe if it looks very clean I might consider it, but I'd rather see it do an uptrend. I'd like to see another stock that can get, nice green days, like at least 3 for potential morning panic bounce play setups in the future. ISWH, this is the main one. I'm going to be watching this. If it does a morning panic bounce play again, that would be nice. Same deal with HRAA, although I like ISWH more. I like the price that it's at more. I like how it trades with more volume. And of course, on the other watch list, if there's any other OTCs that is having a nice clean downtrend for a morning panic bounce play, I'll definitely consider that one too. I do have some other ones that have not moved that might be potential runners based off of news, but that's really all I have. The main goal right now would be to take a look and consider ISWH if it does any kind of morning panic bounce play today. Alright, it is 9:42. As you can see here, there's a 39,000 print right there, and I did try a morning panic bounce play here. It didn't work. I lost just 50 pennies. It was just under a $200 position. Morning panic bounce play, ISWH is the stock right here, and I was long 938 right here. And I was in at 185, which was right here. It looked like it was trying to hold this 180 level, and if you look back, there is support going back to 180, give or take. It's a high right here, and they kind of played off of it back there. So that was totally the idea and the setup. And let's see if this thing can run. I mean, it just broke that. There was a big seller on the ask. It wasn't really looking too nice, and I did have to cut it for a tiny loss just because of the fact that when I was in it at this candle right here at 938, I was risking this 183 level breaking, and it did break it, but it only got to 182. It didn't get much lower, and I sold at 184.5, so that was a 50-cent loss, which is absolutely fine. It was a tiny loss. It's nice to see the 48,000 whatever seller guy get taken out, and it did get to VWAP, but it's not doing much more. I mean, it could continue running. It is at 190, and I did take into consideration as well that VWAP was really close at the time. Right here at 938, VWAP was 191, and if I'm taking an entry at 185, 186, VWAP is right there. It's super close. But the one thing that this thing has in favor is that it is at its highs, and a lot of these that are at its highs tend to go like green on the day, and they run up even more, and they keep up trending like nothing happened, almost like this candle right here, where it had probably a morning panic bounce play at some point, and it didn't just come back. It also went green on the day, and it finished nicely at 171. So that is a good thing about trying morning panic bounce plays on stocks that are at its highs. They can just keep uptrending. I think somebody rang the door, but I'll come back later to finish my thought here. Alright, I'm back. I'd like to see what this thing can do over time. I mean, this thing can go back to the 2s if it wants. Am I salty that I missed it? No, not really, because I don't mind cutting losses quickly here. I'm not really at that level to if it breaks the day low and I think, alright, well, it breaks it, but it looks like it's trying to hold itself together. I don't really like playing games with stuff like that, because sometimes, and I've definitely been in a situation like that, where it breaks the day low and it just keeps fading, and it just drops, like it makes a whole nother leg down, and I just don't want to risk that. So it's nice to see it get as high as 197. If I had to guess, this thing can get even higher. At least in theory it can. It has a top at $2, it seems like. But yeah, that's all I have. I did not try ISWH because this thing was trading all weird, and I would have liked it if it was cleaner. It is trying to make a move now, but you can tell it doesn't trade with much range. 18.5, 18.7, that's not really good range. PSRU, I was looking at this one just because it looked clean initially, but it started to look all ugly, and for a stock that was only up one day, it has to look very nice for me to be interested in it. I did miss HRAA, I don't know, yeah, I didn't actually place an order, but I did see the turnaround here, and I don't mind that I missed it. When I saw it, I thought, okay, it could try a hold at this 17.2, not 17.2, this 27.2 level, and it actually held it and played off of it nicely. But what threw me off is that it actually made a wick below it, and it looked kind of ugly, and then it looked kind of nice, and then you don't want to chase it because it's already at VWAP. I actually did consider a buy at 28 when it was right here, but I never placed an order because you never know how much further it can go once it's past VWAP, and that was the issue here as well. VWAP was very close to the bottom to where it was trading, so I might consider this if it does like maybe a higher low, lower low, or maybe even this if it holds VWAP. But I mean, I like looking for OTC morning panic bounce plays that have at least 3 green days in a row, but this is literally all it had. It literally just had 3 green days, but I'll continue to watch this. But if it trades with if it trades with a large spread like this, I might not consider it anymore. So yeah, that's really all I got. That's pretty interesting there. Still, that one's kind of weird. 197. I don't really see any other setups that I'm too interested in except for this one. I have to check if I'm even able to trade something like this. It wouldn't be a bad setup at all if this thing does a dip towards VWAP. That's all I got for right now. Alright, it is 10:38 and I want to make an update. There is really nothing I'm really that interested in, and I might actually call it off kind of early because I do have to catch up, and like with a bunch of orders in the garage, and you know, I'll be off of this computer here. But LCLP in 3 was like a dip towards VWAP setup. It did have a few dips right here, but it never really touched VWAP, and it was kind of sketchy. I missed the first one too. The second one wasn't really that nice. I guess this is a kind of degenerate pattern on this type of stock. I mean, it went from 44 to 46 in this range right here, and that's if you would have gotten 44, and that wasn't even at the VWAP level, like, you know, exactly. It was just right above it. PSRU and HRAA, I did consider them a little for like a lower low setup, but the issue is that this one was only up one day. Very easily this thing could just fade away like other ones, right, that just don't do anything. This one, you see, had its first green day, its second day, third day was just absolute carnage. So in theory that could be PSRU. Of course one of these are going to turn around, but should I really try to play around and guess? It dropped from, you know, a penny stock to a sub penny, and it's just not really looking that nice. It even had this dip here, which would have, you know, been bad for anybody who was trying to dip buy this thing. And HRAA, this one, you know, had more possibility to hold. I was watching it here, and then it kind of broke this level. It did turn around here, but again, it's not really that nice. It's better than PSRU, but still not nice. ISWH, this one did do like a dip, like a higher low from this level right here. I guess you can call this a morning panic. I don't really call it a morning panic. It looks kind of sketchy, but it did hold VWAP here. This is what I would have liked with ISWH, but this one did it all weird because the volume just faded. I was definitely looking for something like this, and then it tries to hit back, you know, and go towards the 2 level, which it could still do. It's just not trading with nice volume, so I'm no longer that interested in it. ISWH, I have no interest in it either, even though it did do that move here. It's, you know, 1971 is a high from 1913, so I mean that's not really that nice. Maybe at its most 5%, just under 5, no, under 5%, maybe like 3%. So there's not a good setup there, and I don't see anything that I'm really interested in. I don't see any stocks that are like up on the day looking nice or anything like that. there is just really nothing that I'm interested in, so I'm going to call it off here, and maybe I'll look back later today. If I see something while I'm working on my laptop, I might consider it, but there's probably no setups today. That's totally fine. I had that one trade with ISWH, and that one was successful, but I don't mind cutting my losses here because this thing could have just kept fading. Maybe it could have jumped in again, but I've learned that usually doesn't work, at least with my trading. When it has like a morning panic bounce play, it breaks the level, kind of holds itself, I try again, it almost always breaks it again. So this is like very abnormal, but I'm glad to see that it still did something, you know, to show that morning panic bounce plays still work. But yeah, and even if I would have been long this, I might have considered selling maybe here at 192 when it closed red. Although this, yeah, this price action here is pretty sketchy too. So that's all I got. I'll make an update later. Alright, it is 6:41 p.m. and I am here to call it off and see what the things have happened since. Let's just go to ISWH. This was my trade here, the morning panic bounce play. Let's get rid of extended hours. Now it looks pretty dumb, right, that I cut losses, but at the time I think it made perfect sense to cut losses. I could have been maybe more lenient, and I could have perhaps risked 180 cracking, or yeah, about 180. Because the bottom, what was the bottom with ISWH? It was 183. Yeah, I could have risked 180, and maybe that would have allowed me to hold on to the trade longer, but I don't mind it one bit because it could have been something super sketchy. Nice drop. And I cut losses right here in this candle, but I don't mind it. It did turn around. It did do something nice, and perhaps if I was just risking the 183 level, even though in theory here I would have lost more, I could have traded perhaps a larger size because of the fact that I have such a clear risk level at 183. It's easy to do the math. I can be in the trade at 185 and, you know, maybe trade something much larger because the risk level is right there, and that would have been kind of nice. But anyway, yeah, just I lost 50 pennies, which is fine. I really lose money in these morning panic bounce plays. At least it's been a long time since I have, and let's let it stay like that. My last red trade was just me trying to trade listed stocks, which is something I'm not that good at. PSRU did continue to fade, although yeah, it did try to get towards VWAP. It did touch it here, but this is kind of like random trading if you ask me. It could have just faded the entire day, but it did at least make a run towards VWAP. HRAA doesn't look anything too tremendous. It's just fading away. I'm probably going to remove this. You know, ILUS could be... Alright, this is nice. I don't think I saw this. Yeah, I was not there for this, but this is kind of nice. You know, even though it was later in the day, I might not have been in this trade if I had seen it when it was happening because of the way it traded. Seems like it had a large wick here, but this could have been something nice just because of the fact that it traded with a lot of volume. That would have been pretty cool. Besides that, I don't think I would have traded anything else. LCLP decided to fade away. There was another one. Swarm, this one was kind of running. I kind of saw it later in the day, but I didn't like it. It looks like it did dip towards VWAP very poorly, and this is one of those that are known to have like these big volume days and it just fades the next day. So if anything, this would have been a short. And let's see, yep, next week from now I should be able in theory to short sell, and that would be really nice. I don't see anything else in my other watch list that might have been impressive for me to trade. No, that's about it. I'm gonna call it off. Just one trade there. It didn't work out. That's totally fine. I look forward to tomorrow. ILUS is still a nice potential for morning panic bounce play setups. Even this one right here, right, PBYA, if it does something clean. It's still trying to hold this range here, but it's made them before. I would really like to try one of those, but yeah, overall pretty good. Just good experience, I guess. A tiny loss. That's totally fine.